All right. Shalom. This is the brothers from GMS Louisiana Saints, the New Orleans camp, with another lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. And we're just going to get straight into it with Daniel's chapter 12, verse 1.
This is Daniel 12 and 1. It says, "And at the time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book."
And of course, that time of trouble, as it says, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time, is speaking of Jacob's trouble, the worst period that the nation of Israel is ever going to go through. Worse than 70 AD, worse than slavery, worse than the civil rights era, Reconstruction, etc., etc. This devil, Esau Edom, is about to come down in great wrath, as it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Hey, to fully implement his New World Order, and a big part of that is getting rid of as many of you Israelites as he can, and the ones that he doesn't get rid of, to herd them into ghettos, even worse than the ones now, and have you microchip implanted with the mark of the beast.
Correct. This Revelation 12 and 12. "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein." Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Hey, as the brothers are always telling you, these elites know what time they're on. They know that the men of the Lord are out there preaching on the highways and byways.
Yep.
They see that the nation of Israel is waking back up, that these different end time signs are taking place, chariot sightings, etc., etc. So they're about to come down in great wrath to again establish that New World Order and get rid of as many of you Israelites as they can. So to you sincere Akim out there, hey, right now is not the time to be lollygagging. You should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you possibly can to make your calling and election sure, and have that protective hedge of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai over you for when Jacob's trouble really pops off and that devil Esau Edom comes with that great sword. And of course, if you have that spiritual eye salve, you can see all these different end times indicators that Yahweh Shai told us to look for, either happening as we speak or in the process of happening. The famines with talks of coming food shortages, people beginning to disregard their kings and princes with a lot of divide over this past presidential election. Even more pestilences coming, talks of a second lockdown, the vaccine coming, the mark of the beast, martial law getting implemented, etc., etc.
Got another precept for you.
Come.
This 1 Peter 5 and 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour."
Hey, and that adversary the devil, again, Esau Edom, seeking whom he may devour, especially you Israelites, because who's the face of this whole C-19 agenda right now? Who's the most at-risk group? So-called Negroes, well, they say blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And is it just any coincidence that that's who we've been saying were the tribes for the longest time?
Right.
No, this devil again is going to come down in great wrath because he knows he has a short time, and his main target's going to be you tribes.
And you would think that Jacob be like, why you don't have these Chinese doing the
where it supposedly started.
Why you don't have them taking the vaccine first? But no, Jacob, well, shit, I got to get right. So I'm gonna take as many as I can to go back to my life, man. That's the mentality of these niggas. They're not even smart enough to say, wait, I thought they was the cause of this.
Hey, and during that first lockdown, you had a bunch of Jakes in their neighborhoods recording military vehicles getting moved in on those rail cars, National Guard troops getting moved in, etc., etc. Hey, that first lockdown was the groundwork for the main event.
Yes.
When these new lockdowns happen and the show gets started, when they push that max to the full extent, as well as the chip. And then these troops during a state of martial law roaming the streets, taking you Jakes and putting putting you to death and throwing you into these isolation centers.
That's right. Ezekiel.
Con.
It's Ezekiel 20:21-9. It says, "Son of man, prophesy and say, thus said the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished."
And what does King David say in Psalm 17, verse 13? Protect me from the wicked, which is thy sword. And we know who that wicked is, as
Esau.
pursuant to Malachi 1, verse 4, the border of wickedness, Esau, Edom. And as it's saying in verse 9, a sword is sharpened and it's furbished.
It says, "It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth?"
Hey, should we then make mirth? No. Hey, should we worry about getting a PlayStation 5, getting the new stimulus package, trying to make soup kitchens and schools in Babylon,
No.
trying to go buy plots of land to plant vineyards, going on a cruise ship, going on cruises to marry people? No, we should not be making mirth right now. We should be in that house of mourning, constantly preparing ourselves spiritually for the times to come, because that sword is quickly coming.
Oh, yes, indeed. It says it containeth. It containeth. Am I saying that right?
Contemneth.
It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and it had given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer.
And we know who that slayer is, that devil coming down in great wrath.
Yeah, coming with all this different the guns, as many guns as he possibly can, coming with these goddamn drones. We seen these bionic dogs coming with these goddamn super soldiers.
Yeah, there was an article that recently came out talking about how China and France are developing bioengineered super soldiers called Homo robobicus,
Yeah.
calling them Terminator killers. Hey, soldiers that can eat less, that don't need to sleep, that have bionic limbs, improved hearing and sight,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
And they said in that article that they're 10 to 30 years away. But if they're releasing that information right now, know that what they have is 10 to 30 years in advance.
That's right.
And with that devil coming out in great wrath to pull out all the stops, best believe that you don't doubt that you'll see some bionic soldiers on these streets in Jake's neighborhoods, kicking in the door, grabbing you, fucking breaking you over their knee, doing all kinds of causing all kinds of destruction to you, Jakes.
And if y'all brothers want to look at that article, I'm gonna put it in the description box on the video.
Con.
It says Ezekiel 21:12. It says, "Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel."
Hey, and what did it say back in Daniel chapter 12? "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people." Hey, this time of Jacob's trouble is going to be so bad that the archangel Michael's going to have to get involved.
Right.
So that just should give you an indication on how furiously and viciously this slayer, this devil with that great sword, is about to come down on the nation of Israel.
Hey, we done seen it from here. We done seen how floods overtake this place, which is New Orleans. We seen how floods overtake Houston. We done seen how floods overtake or tsunamis overtake places over there in Asia and shit, man. That's how Esau gonna come in, man. Like a tsunami, like a flood, man.
As it says in Isaiah 59, it come
right.
down as a great flood. And it's beautiful that you brought up Katrina, because we have a brother in our camp that lived through Hurricane Katrina,
Yeah.
and said it was nothing but a madness and misery.
It was hell.
And death. Yeah, hell.
It was hell.
He said there were actually troops like sniping people and killing people off, and people trying to go like chase after military vehicles to get food,
Yeah.
and they gave them a warning like, hey,
I
get
think
back.
I think you did a video on the white man saying I was shooting anybody browner than a paper bag, man.
And that's just a average Joe Edomite.
Yes.
During that time of Hurricane Katrina, they had Jakes trying to get to a ferry point to get out of the city, but they had to go through an Edomite neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Esau wasn't hearing it in that day. If you were browner than a paper bag, they were putting you down.
Laying you
And
down.
they were boasting about it.
Yeah.
they had these old Edomites saying, "Oh yeah, I'm from the north," and he was like shooting birds coming down here.
Right.
And his wife said, "Hey, my husband didn't know what that word nigger meant until he got down here during Katrina." And that's just low-level Edomites making a sport of you jakes.
Yeah.
How much more these elites and these higher-ups knowing what it's hitting for,
True.
knowing that they're Edomites, that their kingdom's about to go down, and that this is their last hurrah to implement that new world order.
True.
And the brother also said, like, hey, sometimes they didn't even give Jake a warning when they were running up to the trucks. They were just putting them down like
Laying them
dogs in
down.
the streets. And when they tried to get across the bridge, they said, hey, if you come any closer, we're putting you down.
Yeah.
And this time of Jacob's trouble is going to be worse than that.
Man. It says, terror by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh.
Khan.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad out here for Jakes, man. Esau gonna really be putting foot to ass out here on a lot of you Jakes. We're not saying you Jakes ain't gonna be able to fight back, but Esau got all the equipment he needs.
We'll say this. You Jakes are going to try to fight back.
Right.
You 2/3 are going to try to fight back. But as for us in our houses, hey, we're going to rely on Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai.
That's right.
Because if the Archangel Michael's got to get involved, then again, that just goes to show how bad it's going to be out here.
But going back to that Isaiah 59, they say a standard gonna be lifted up for us, you know? It says Psalms 124 and 1. It says Song of Degrees of David. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose against us.
Yeah, devil coming down in great wrath. The different nations, heathen nations, chiefly led by Esau Edom, being confederated against us, to come against us and cut us off from being a nation. That slayer rising with that great sword, which has been furbished and sharpened to make a sore slaughter of the princes of Israel.
That's right. It said, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our souls.
Hey, them coming in like a great flood. And as the brother was making with that analogy of seeing these different floods happening on these places around the earth, what does it look like when those floods come in? They come in and wash everything away.
It basically engulfs it, man. They take it right over, man. We seen what water can do. Water can cover whole cities.
You see, it's taking down buildings you think would be strong, concrete building, just knocking them out. And it's comparing Esau Edom as waters and a flood coming down on you Jakes, talking about just showing that to you 2/3, you're just gonna get completely wiped out.
Yes. It said, then the proud waters had gone over our souls.
And who's the proudest person out here? The basest of men, Esau Edom, thinking that their houses are never gonna go down and name places after themselves.
Blessed be.
Hey,
Slacking my phone.
Your pride, as it says in Obadiah, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks and set thy nest among the stars. Hey, while these elites, they know what times are coming, still in their warped out mind, they actually think that they may have a chance to avert prophecy and fight against Yahushua when he returns with that Tinker Toy Space Force.
Ridiculous.
This is the man, as it says in 2 Thessalonians, that wants to shoot himself as the Most High and sit in the seat of the Most High.
He think he gonna put goddamn jetpacks on these super soldiers' back like Robocop.
Hey, they called him Homo Robobicus.
It says Psalms 124 and 6. Blessed be the Lord who had not given us as a prey to their teeth.
And with that teeth, hey, the teeth is their might. Because where's an animal's main attack power? Their teeth. And Esau Edom, what was his blessing? The sword.
Yep.
So all these different toys he's coming with. Biological weapons, engineered food shortages, the Maxine, these soldiers with assault rifles and grenades, these drones, these Homo Robobicuses, etc., etc. It says somewhere else in the scriptures that he's going to break the teeth of the great lions.
Yeah.
So the Most High is going to set up that standard, as it says in Isaiah, I believe it's 58 or 59. When they come in like a great flood, he's going to stand up that great standard
That's right.
and break the teeth of the great lions. So hey, if you're of that elect number and you're constantly doing what you need to do to stay in the good graces of your power, hey, the Most High is going to break those teeth.
Right.
And those floodwaters, it's going to be like you've got a little dam around you, and those floodwaters are going to go around you while it's engulfing everything else.
We're going to have a moat around us, man. That's right. It says, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snares of the fowls. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
Hey, again, the Most High is going to set up that standard, and if you're standing upon your watch doing whatever you need to do, hey, expect the Most High to defend you in that day. Hey, Michael to defend you in that day.
Yeah, that great prince.
And also it says in the scriptures that the traps that they set for us, speaking of the elect, they're going to fall into those very same traps.
Yeah. It says, our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and the earth.
Hey, point blank period. Our help is in the name of Yahweh who made heaven and earth. Hey, our help is in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and it also said the name, showing that we would know that name, and we know that name, and that's the name we're calling on now, and the name we're going to call on during that great time of Jacob's trouble, so we can have that standard set up over us to protect us from these proud waters, these floods coming down in great destruction.
That's right.
Hey, but as for you 2/3 out there, as it says in 2nd Esdras chapter 9, they that yet had liberty to hear this word despised it and cast it despitefully behind them. All these things are beginning to come to pass, and you're seeing everything the men of the Lord said happening right before your eyes. But what are a lot of you still doing? Scoffing and talking shit. That's why it says, then they shall know it after death by pain.
Right.
That death by pain to the nerve endings.
And what's the biggest pain but to bring the one that they trust and love up against them? Oh, sleazy E.
Hey, your daddy the devil. Hey, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and put their trust in the flesh of man's arm.
Because you got to think about it, if you don't mind me saying, Jake put so much trust and love in these Edomites. They in their Hall of Fames. They in their schools getting their degrees. They look to them to be affluential people. So how much love do they have for this Esau, man? In abundance. So the Lord gonna have show them how insurmountable they are to him, man.
Hey,
ooh, that's a blessing.
Hey, he showed it during Katrina.
Yes.
Hey, instead of calling on Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, Jake was looking up to the heavens asking, "Where's FEMA?"
Yeah.
And what'd you have? George W. Bush Jr. in an airplane looking over saying, niggas are getting it pretty bad.
And what Kanye West said, George Bush don't like black people. All right. Okay, and what? What's next after that? Nigga went back to just...
And look at him now. He bugged out of his fucking mind.
All the way bugged the fuck out.
So yeah, any other points you want?
That's it.
So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to you sincere Akim out there. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly of Esau Edoms. And again, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shalom.
Shalom.